So we help people relocate to Coeur d'Alene all the time. And it's not uncommon for people to need to rent before buying. But how do you go about finding a rental in North Idaho? Well, we're going to give you some tips and tricks right now. Hello again. Thank you for joining me here at the North Idaho Lindsay YouTube channel. Like we mentioned, we're going to break down some tips and some tricks on getting into a rental quickly here in North Idaho. It's not uncommon to need to rent before purchasing, and we have this conversation with consumers weekly. How do we find a rental? Where do we go about finding a rental? I need to rent before I buy. I need to figure out what I'm going to do before I settle down there. So we've compiled a document actually, and it's available for you guys if you find yourself in need of trying to figure out where to rent and where to live here in North Idaho. We've got a resource document that we give to all of our clients and customers that helps them figure out where to look for rentals, how to find a rental, and then what areas of town you could consider being in depending on your needs. So we've got this all broken down. We're going to go over our recommendations here right now. If you are enjoying this content or you want to stay up to date on anything North Idaho, whether it's our community or the real estate market, make sure to like this video and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on everything. So let's get into this. Like we said, very common for someone to need to find a rental up here. And although in Idaho, we don't really get paid to find rentals or put people in leases like you see in big cities, we can at least point you in the right direction. So as a real estate agent, I don't really have a book of properties that are available for lease like you'd see in like New York City or LA or something like that. So what we have here is essentially just some tips and some tricks. We have a list of search engines that are the most comprehensive list of search engines. You can find rentals on Zillow, you can find rentals on rent.com, apartment.com, Craigslist. So there are some larger search engines specifically for rentals that nearly every property management company and or mom and pop landlord will upload their rental listings to. So first and foremost, check the internet. Google rentals near me, rentals in Coeur d'Alene, rentals in the zip code that you want to be in. And you are going to find a plethora of search engines and links available online with photos and videos and property descriptions. So you can find rentals on those sites. Almost, like I said, almost every property owner here in North Idaho, property management company is putting their stuff on these websites, because they want to be found just like when we list a home, we put it on the MLS so everyone can find it. So you've got these internet search options. The other option for finding a rental is getting some contact information for some of the more prolific property management companies here in town. There are companies that run apartment complexes. There are companies that have just, one-off houses here and there. So you've got Resort Property Management, Compass Property Management, Prodigy Property Management, New View Property Management. So all of these property management companies have access to lots and lots of inventory. So they know what's coming up and they know whose lease is about to expire and who's moving out and who's moving in. So make sure that in addition to your internet search options that you're contacting these property management companies and finding out what they've got coming down the pipeline. The other thing, real quick note about property management companies, is a lot of them will have like a background check application type of thing that you've got to do for them to determine whether or not they want you as a tenant client. So you have to fill out your application and do, like the credit check, background check, maybe even put some money down for deposits. If you do that ahead of time with a property management company, you can get on a list with them and essentially have kind of like, we've got, it's kind of, again, analogous with buying and selling a property. If we've got 2 tenant options and this one's already filled out the application and they've passed the background check and the credit check, and then we've got, Joe Schmo who just walked in off the street and says, can I rent that house? Obviously, they're going to work with and choose the person who's already put in the time and the effort to get approved, essentially, to work with that property management company. So I always recommend to people, if you want to work with a property management company, regardless of what property they have, just get an application into them, get some of that background stuff going, so that once you find something, you can pull the trigger and you're ready, versus finding something and then having to do all of the paperwork and the back work once you found something, because someone's already sitting in line in front of you. So just know that. The other thing that we recommend too is once you're here, or if you're already existing in this community, drive around. Drive around to some of these neighborhoods that you want to be in. Maybe you want to try and get downtown and you want to be in Sanders Beach, or maybe you want to be up in Coeur d'Alene Place, or maybe you want to be in a neighborhood in Post Falls on the river. So whatever that might be, go drive around. It's not uncommon right now for the mom and pop landlord to put just a rental sign out in their front yard. They know that we have a less than 1% vacancy rate here in Kootenai County. So they know that they don't need to, do a bunch of ads and put it in the paper and have it on all the websites. They know someone's going to drive by and call them and they're going to place them in the house. So you can also find for rent signs just in people's front yards. And then kind of the next thing that we suggest, and this is a bit more of a gap strategy, is if you can't find something before you get here, maybe consider doing a short-term rental for a period of time and at least getting in somewhere and having a place or a roof over your head. So maybe you find a VRBO or an Airbnb and you say, I've got a month that I can live here while I'm looking around town, and hopefully something will come up in a month. Or hey, if I need to tack another month on here and I'm here for 2 months, great. But at least you've got some shelter, you've got, a furnished house that you can live in while you're looking for everything. But short-term rental is also kind of a stopgap for emergencies. So these are kind of our recommendations and again, we've got this all in a document that we can email you, something you can always come back to. And again, in that document too, we outline within each of our different cities, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, Hayden, Rathdrum, just some of the amenities that you're nearby, so that when you go to these communities, when you're from out of state, especially, you're not going to, fall into a community that you may not want to be near or may not meet your needs. So if you are curious about that, go ahead and text or email us. We'll send that out to you guys. I know that renting sometimes is not people's preference because it just kind of puts the reality of maybe purchasing a home or owning a home a little further out. And, when you rent somewhere, usually they're asking for a year-long lease. And, to put something out for a year or to be paying rent and then potentially doubling up and paying a mortgage, a lot of that stuff can be stressful. But I think there are actually some benefits to renting a little bit before you commit to anything. And some of the pros, I guess, or benefits of renting can be that you get to know this community better. You don't go purchase a home in Rathdrum when you really wanted to be out in Wolf Lodge. Or up in Sandpoint, for example. You don't purchase a home in Hope, Idaho when you've got to be in Spokane for work every day, because that's like the longest route ever. So you get to know the area that you're in, you get to know the neighborhoods and the pockets and the communities, and that way you can really make sure that you don't end up somewhere that you don't want to be. Another benefit of renting for a little while is that you establish your local employment history. Unless you have a job locally, a lender will not give you a loan to purchase a home if they don't know that the place that you're going to has some sort of income opportunity for you. They have to know that when you move to Idaho, you're going to be able to have an Idaho income and pay your bills based on that income, not your Washington income or your California income. So it's beneficial in that it can help you establish your local employment opportunities, which then helps you get into a loan. So a couple of benefits there definitely for renting. But if you have any questions, please let me know. We're happy to help everyone out. Again, if a relocation document would be helpful to you, don't forget to text or call us. Leave your comments, questions, concerns below. We love getting the feedback from you guys and hearing your guys' stories and opinions about stuff. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We appreciate you joining us every week here. We'll see you next time.